Jason Isbell has chimed in on Oliver Anthony's Richmond, north of Richmond. Basically, I want to read off what he said because I think it's definitely worth us talking about. And of course, Whiskey Riff, they've got pop-up ads and it takes you to the middle of the story before you actually get to it. But let's see here. Well, I'm not even to it yet. I'm still scrolling. He says, let's see. It's hard to get a message out about your political ideology or your belief about the world in 3 minutes and some change. But I do hate to see that song being weaponized. I see the right. Oh, that's Oliver Anthony's comments. See, Whiskey Riff, get to the damn lead, would you?
Yeah, right.
So he says, before I heard the lyrics, I was like, this guy can sing his ass off. I really do love that type of sound. I like bluegrass. I grew up listening to a lot of that, and anything with a soulful tinge I'm down for. I think it was the second verse that threw me for a loop. Plot twist. I don't have a ton of opinion on it, but I did think it was crazy, and it was just kind of compounded with the small town thing. Now, he went on to say that, buddy, there's a reason you don't just jump in the fucking pool. There's something there, but that's the song you should have written when you were 16. And then when you were 19, you should have rewritten it without the part about hating people on welfare. And then when you were 20, you throw the whole thing out and write another song. So Jason Isbell, who's arguably one of the greatest songwriters of our generation, and certainly has been on a roll for the last 10 years with everything he's written just about, comes out and has a very harsh songwriting criticism for Oliver Anthony, who has come out of nowhere. I have my opinion on the matter, but I think this is the first time, Frank, you've heard what he actually said. So what's your immediate take?
Well, it's typical Jason Isbell. If you or anyone follows him on X, he owns the joint. Okay. He can roast anyone with the best of them. And he does it in a way though, that isn't completely offensive. And to someone who may not catch on so quickly, be like, what are they talking about? Right. But he's very quick-witted and clever. And, so reading that and hearing you read it, I could just hear Jason Isbell's voice saying that, right? And just to use like that metaphor about don't jump in the fucking pool, that is definitely something that Jason Isbell would say. I'm reading it again because I'm trying to absorb it all. Hating people on welfare, that's a touchy topic, right? Maybe hate the system, not the people. So now that I'm looking at the lyrics too, again, of the song, it is kind of, not very nice.
So let me interject here because I think the lyrics to the song can be taken a couple different ways.
Yeah.
I think it can be interpreted as hating the system. I don't think Oliver Anthony is the kind of person, based on the other things I've heard him say and whatnot, who hates people on welfare. He hates the fact that there are people who take advantage of a broken system. I honestly, when I, sort of read everything that Jason Isbell said, and I didn't listen to the interview, I just read the transcript of it. I was kind of a little pissed off for a second because I was like, look, Jason Isbell, you are the king of the hill right now.
True.
But this guy, he's not hurting anybody. And he may have come out with, a handful of songs. He hasn't been writing as long as you has. He's not as polished as you are. But why the fuck point a finger at him and criticize him so harshly about you should have written that when you were 16 and then rewritten it when you were 19 and then when you were 20 thrown it away? Basically, he shit on the song, which I didn't think was cool. I didn't think that was a classy move on his part. He doesn't give a shit about my opinion. He probably won't ever see or hear this. Right. But I lost there's a little bit of ding on Jason Isbell's belt on that one for me. Cause I'm like, wait a minute. And remember, I'm the guy who I think on episode 1 of this podcast said, I don't think there should be a rift between pop country and outlaw country. If the music moves the people, if it makes you tap your foot if it takes you away from your troubles, who the fuck is anybody to say that it's good or bad?
Right.
And so I don't know. I just kind of chapped my ass a little bit.
Okay.
And so if I were in the room when Jason Isbell said that, I probably would have said, wait a minute. What? I mean, it's okay to constructively criticize somebody's song. But it sounded to me like Isbell was crossing the line there about, I'm gonna go fish for a headline here. I'm not necessarily gonna, give my honest opinion. I'm just gonna say something offensive and incendiary against this new kid because I think that one line sucks. I mean, I think if you're in that position and you're the king of the hill and this is a new guy to the scene and he's making a name for himself, it's probably better off just keep your mouth shut. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything. But again, he's not gonna listen to me.
Yeah, and Jason Isbell doesn't shy away from anything, controversial. And he's very open about his politics and his beliefs. So anyone who has followed him or even listened to his last 3 albums, 2 albums would know where he stands on these issues. So I will disagree with what you said about Jason Isbell, trying to grab a headline. I personally don't believe that was his intention. He is a smartass. That's who he is. And so what he said, I mean, it's blunt. It's not constructive, like you said, but that's who he is.
Yep. Okay. Well, I mean, and again, it's just my opinion. Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody. No.
Certainly he doesn't. And I doubt Oliver Anthony would either. But I don't know. I just thought it was a little too far, a little too harsh.
All right.
Constructive criticism is fine. You say, hey, I wouldn't pick on, people on welfare as much. There's a way to wordsmith that a bit so that it's not so, abrupt and critical. But that's just my opinion. So,
and we can Monday morning quarterback this all day long, right? We weren't there. We don't know if he had any time to, really come up with a response or anything. So,
well, and I'm not a songwriter, and right. I don't disagree with Jason's point. Yeah. There's some amateur mistakes maybe that are made in someone's early songwriting. And one would think that Oliver Anthony's songwriting is pretty early in his career right now. Right. So you're going to make some amateur mistakes. You're going to make some things that 2 or 3 years from now, you're going to look back and say, oh man, I should have polished that a little bit more. Right. Yeah. He'll learn those lessons. Oliver will.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with what Jason said. I just thought he was kind of mean spirited about it.
Yeah.
And, it's one thing to be a smartass. It's another thing to be a jackass.
That could be a bumper sticker too. I think we have this whole, we have a whole side business possibility.
We're going to come out with merch soon and that will be there.